was it like for you on that day? What was it like for you
Extremely hectic.
on that day? Yeah.
Starting at the opening, before the opening, nothing but sell orders came in, and trying to get indications and what the market would look like was impossible. Couldn't tell our customers where the stocks were going to open.
Were you worried you were going to lose a bunch of money, or did you say, hey, there's a ton of trading and this is actually, we're going to be able to get through this? Or what was
Our main concern was executing the orders and executing them properly. The money was going to be gone no matter what. You're going to lose money. But fortunately, the day after the crash, when everybody thought they were broke, the market turned around enough to restore the losses that they had incurred.
Everybody's making fun of my picture from 1987.
Oh, I can't wait to show mine.
With the stash. Let's see if we got one. I know we have one of you, of John Travolta's younger brother from Saturday Night Fever.
Look,
Is that a mugshot?
What is that? That's my license.
Are you wearing
actually.
a shirt?
Yeah, I have a T-shirt on. That's my license. It doesn't look like it, but yes, I have a T-shirt.
Where were you on the floor?
But I was in booth F in the main room, just on the other side of where we are at the moment. And I was 26 at the time, so for me it was incredible, like as it was for everybody. But it was an experience for sure.
You can hear the reaction on the floor as everyone's seeing these images. You actually mentioned something interesting, that for you, a lot of the drama was the day after, just as much as it was on Black Monday itself.
Yeah, and just before I address the day after, one thing we forgot to point out again today, and that is President Reagan sent a congratulatory note to the stock exchange and the members for their outstanding performance on the 19th. When other people weren't picking up the phone, we kept trading.
And yes.
As to the next day, the market opened up. There was a cheer on the floor. About an hour and 15 minutes later, it rolled over and went negative, and there was an audible gasp here. Everybody said, oh my God, after yesterday, we can't hold a rally. What's going on? We then found out that what was going on is several of the major banks had solicited the lines of credit for the specialists and for the over-the-counter dealers, and the
liquidity was drying up.
Well, they were panicky. They saw down 22%. They thought they might be liable. They called up and said, Bill Griffith, we're canceling your line of credit. You can't get things done.
And famously, the president of the New York Fed, Gerald Corrigan, called those banks and said, you guys open up the spigot again, or else, right?
And at first they didn't want to do it. John Phelan, who was chairman, reached out for Greenspan, who had just been appointed to the Fed, but he was in a plane down in Texas.
Right.
So they went to Jerry Corrigan. Jerry is experienced enough that he got it instantly. He knew
He's
what
a big guy, too, so they were going to listen to him. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say Dick Grasso was there, because Phelan wasn't here, so Dick Grasso was here. Remember that day on the ramp, on the phone, the red phone, right down to the Fed? It was,
but no.
It was really an incredible day.
Phelan was making the phone calls to the Fed at the time. It was amazing.
Grasso was on the floor
Arky,
here.
I'm just curious, when you reflect on the exchange then and now, I mean, what are your thoughts about what's happened during that 30 years?
What happened? The changes that were made were phenomenal. Automation came in, the computerization changed everything. Specialist system changed drastically. Our rules have changed. And it's still, the New York Stock Exchange was a private business that took care of the public business. That was our main concern. Now we are a public company still holding the interests of the public, the best interests at hand. So there were a lot of changes, but there are some things that remain the same.
And something that I've long been struck by is the camaraderie that exists on the floor among those of you who trade here, no matter how long, but those of you who've been here the longest, the camaraderie is the strongest, clearly.
I'll tell you what's amazing about that, because this is like one General Miller beer commercial. All day long, I compete with him, try and outfox him, and he tries to outfox me on behalf of somebody we've never met, and to try and get things a little better. And then at the end of the day, to keep him going completely crazy, I say to him, come on, I'll buy you a beer. And we go up and have one.
I had a different problem. I competed with my wife, and she normally won.
It's funny because
Happy wife.
But I competed with my wife as well, who was a member also.
That's right.
That is hilarious. We were asking you folks what you were doing on this day 30 years ago. We heard from a few of you on Twitter. One person, D, says that she was at a Quotron machine. Anybody go to remember Quotron? Anyone?
Quotron.
Watching the world fall apart on that Black Monday. Douglas says he was watching Sue Herrera and me on FNN as they began the buying spree. He says they were buying stock at the end of the day for mutual funds. Another Bill says he was in Hawaii in the Navy.
Wow.
He used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning when the market opened. He called his broker to sell 2 stocks. He didn't get his confirmation for 2 days.
Right.
Because the paperwork was so far behind trying to figure out what the buy and sells were doing.
I think